All right, so today we're diving into some really thought-provoking stuff. Ready? We're talking truth, enlightenment, and how to actually live your best life. And to guide us, we're turning to Osho, specifically his discourses on a text called the Ashtavakra Gita.
Oh, interesting.
Now, before you think meditation cushions and incense, Osho wasn't your typical spiritual guru. Not at all.
Yeah, he had a way of making these ancient teachings so relatable.
Totally. He could explain anything with a well-placed story, like that friend who always has the perfect anecdote.
Right.
That's what made his insights so powerful. So we're doing a deep dive into his work, unearthing the practical wisdom within these ancient texts.
Sounds good. I'm ready.
So one of the things that struck me about Osho was how he contrasted different spiritual figures like Krishna or Buddha with Ashtavakra.
Yeah, how so?
Well, he talked about how people approach the Bhagavad Gita, written by Krishna. They're almost picking and choosing verses to support their existing beliefs.
Oh, I see, like a spiritual buffet, yeah.
Exactly. But with the Ashtavakra Gita, Osho argues that it doesn't let you off that easy. It's not about finding validation for what you already think.
It's more direct, right, to the point.
Totally. It's like that friend who tells you what you need to hear, not just what you want to hear, even if it's tough. He even said that nobody's written commentaries on it, on Ashtavakra Gita.
Really? Why is that?
Osho's point was that it's so direct, so potent, there's no room for anyone to muddy the waters with their own interpretation.
Wow, that's really something. It speaks to the power of Ashtavakra's words.
Exactly. It's like, come as you are, but leave your baggage at the door because it's not going to serve you where we're going. So no adding to your mental clutter here. This is about questioning everything, even the very foundation of how you see yourself and the world.
That's deep stuff, for sure.
Yeah.
But how do we actually do that? Drop those preconceived notions? How do we even begin?
Well, this is where Osho's idea of being a witness comes in.
Ah, okay. But not like becoming a detached observer of life.
No, not at all. This isn't about becoming a wallflower. It's more about taking a step back.
Okay, a step back from what?
From that constant striving, the never-ending to-do list that keeps us from seeing what's real, what's already here.
I think so. What do you mean?
It's like when you're so busy chasing the next promotion, bigger house, whatever it is, that you forget to ask yourself, wait a minute, am I even happy right now?
Wow, yeah, that's so true.
And what's interesting is that Osho isn't talking about some long, drawn-out self-improvement plan. He's suggesting that remembering who you truly are, it can be sudden, a flash of insight, like a lightning bolt almost.
Like a sudden realization.
Exactly. And this is where he tells that incredible story about the emperor who forgot who he was.
Oh, right. I think I've heard of this one. Tell me more.
So imagine this. You're living as a beggar for years, totally oblivious to your true identity, your past, everything. Then one day, bam, a minister recognizes you, and suddenly it all comes flooding back. Whoa, right.
It's a powerful image. It makes you think. It really makes you wonder how much time we spend looking for validation outside of ourselves.
Right. When it's like the truth of who we are is already within us.
Exactly. And like how much of that striving, that always needing to do something, comes from this feeling of not being good enough.
Oh, totally. Like we have to earn our worthiness somehow instead of just realizing it's already there.
Yeah, it's a huge question, isn't it? What if we all just live from this place of already being whole?
Yeah.
Of knowing our worth?
How would that change things? Right? Our actions, our relationships, everything. And, Osho, he doesn't let the ego off easy here.
Yeah, how does he put that?
He talks about how much the ego thrives on these never-ending tasks, this illusion of achievement.
Oh, I see, I'll be happy when.
Exactly. Fill in the blank.
Yeah.
And it all ties back to how much our beliefs shape our reality. Like Osho even uses this example of people walking on fire.
Oh, right. Fire walking. What's his take on that?
Well, he suggests it might not be supernatural. He says it could be like this deep state of hypnosis.
Hypnosis, huh?
Yeah, powered by this unshakable belief that they're not going to get burned. It's wild.
That's incredible when you think about it, the power of belief.
Right. So then it's like, how does that play out in our everyday lives?
I don't know. How do you think?
Well, how often do we hold back from doing something because we think it's impossible? Or that we're not capable?
All the time, probably, right?
Yeah, but what if those are just self-imposed limits, like stories we're telling ourselves?
Stories we tell ourselves. That's something to think about. That makes me think about how we determine our self-worth,
Yeah, where's that coming from?
Is it tied to external achievements? Or other people's opinions? Or is there a way to connect it to something deeper, something within ourselves?
Exactly. And this reminds me of another one of Osho's stories, this one about horses at the races. Have you heard this one?
No, I don't think so. What's it about?
So he's describing these horses, right? And they're watching the humans go totally nuts, cheering and shouting.
Okay, I can picture it. What happens?
And Osho, he's like, look how ridiculous we are. We're so busy watching life go by that we forget to actually participate.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's funny, but also kind of sad when you put it like that.
Totally. And it highlights this whole idea of embracing aloneness, which doesn't mean becoming a hermit or anything.
Right, it's not about being antisocial.
It's more about getting comfortable with your own company,
Because if you're always surrounded by noise and distractions...
How can you hear your own inner wisdom, right?
Yeah, exactly. So true.
And that reminds me of another story Osho tells. This one's a bit darker, about a man who's convinced that everyone is out to get him.
Oh, I think I've heard of this one. Didn't he drive himself crazy with paranoia?
Exactly. Even though there's no evidence or anything, he creates this reality in his mind.
And it shows the power of our thoughts, both positive and negative.
For sure. So the question is, how often are we avoiding being alone with our own thoughts?
Because we're afraid of what we might find.
Maybe. What if facing those fears, those limiting beliefs, is actually the key to unlocking a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world?
It makes you realize that real growth requires a willingness to look inward.
And it takes courage. But Osho suggests the reward is worth it.
Yeah, he talks about finding profound peace, freedom, even joy.
Absolutely. And that's where things get really interesting, because Osho is all about going beyond the intellect, tapping into something deeper.
Like what?
He talks about this idea of accessing truth through the heart, not just the head.
Interesting. So not just logic and reason.
Right. And a great example of this is his story about two Sufi mystics, Farid and Kabir. Have you heard this one? I'm not sure, have you?
Rings a bell, but refresh my memory. Who are they again?
So Farid and Kabir, they're these Sufi mystics, and the story goes that Farid visits Kabir one day. And get this, they just sit together in silence for days.
Wow, days, huh? What to talk about.
See, that's the thing. Afterward, people were all like, what ancient secrets did you guys unlock? Dying to know what profound wisdom they'd received. And Farid's just like, there was nothing to say.
Nothing to say.
Yeah. Like the real communication, the heart of it, was happening on a whole other level, beyond words, beyond the intellect.
Wow, that's powerful. It's like when you have these moments of pure awe and you try to describe them, but words just don't do it justice.
Exactly. And Osho is saying those moments, that's where the good stuff is. Like, what if the answers you're looking for, those deep truths, can't be found just by thinking?
So how do we find them?
Well, he suggests it takes cultivating your intuition, listening to that gut feeling, being present in the moment.
It's like he's saying, stop searching outside yourself. The answers you seek are closer than you think.
Exactly. And that, to me, is the essence of Osho's message. It's this invitation to question everything, explore, and uncover your own truth. Not through blind faith, but through direct experience.
It's a journey we all have to take for ourselves.
Absolutely. So there you have it, folks. Our deep dive into Osho's perspective on truth, enlightenment, and being witness to our own lives. It's a lot to process, but hopefully it'll get you thinking, maybe even feeling your way toward a new understanding of it all. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and until next time, keep diving deep.